Welcome back, listeners. Today, we're digging deep into the Local Government Act of Southern Sudan, passed in 2009. This is a crucial piece of legislation that laid out the framework for local governance across the region. There's a lot to unpack, from the roles of various officials to the finer details of policy implementation. So, let's get into it. That's right. The Local Government Act is a big deal, especially since it outlines how local councils and officials are supposed to manage everything from financial resources to public utilities. And it also sets clear qualifications for these roles. Things like being at least 30 years old and having a Sudan school certificate. It really tries to standardize the process. Exactly, and one of the most interesting parts is how it organizes governance into these levels, right? We've got city councils, county councils, town councils, and even smaller units like headmanships for communities with just 250, 300 people. So it really ensures that governance isn't just centralized, it's spread out, which should make things more efficient and responsive. Yeah, it's all about decentralization, bringing decision making closer to the people. It's not just a top down approach, which can be pretty disconnected from the ground reality. But let's talk about some of the responsibilities that these local officials have. They are expected to implement policies, manage finances, oversee public utilities, and even handle things like land management. That's a lot on their plate. For sure. And what's especially interesting is the focus on monitoring and evaluation. These officials don't just implement things and forget about them. They have to track performance, appraise staff, and make sure all the systems are working. That's a huge responsibility to ensure accountability and transparency, which, let's be honest, isn't always the case in local governance. Accountability is key. And they also have to be good at managing public resources, right? The Act requires that local officials safeguard records and funds. But the land management piece is especially important. We're talking about organizing land development, dealing with land disputes, and ensuring that communities have access to land in an equitable way. Those issues are fundamental for sustainable development. Absolutely. Land is at the heart of most development challenges, especially in a place like southern Sudan. So, the fact that the Act emphasizes fair land distribution and dispute resolution is really forward thinking. But it's not just about land, it also addresses infrastructure. Local governments are in charge of maintaining things like public utilities, roads, and recreational centers. That's a lot of moving parts. It is, and these officials have to oversee all of it, ensuring the infrastructure is maintained, public services are running, and of course people are participating in the process. The Act really stresses the importance of public mobilization. It's not enough for these councils to just work in a vacuum. They need the community to be involved. That's a good point. The whole system is designed to be participatory. Local councils are supposed to engage with communities, make sure everyone has a voice, and encourage people to get involved in the development process. It's about creating partnerships between the government and the community. Yeah, and that's where the performance appraisals come in too. They're not just for staff, it's also about measuring how well the local government is doing in terms of service delivery and community engagement. If things aren't working, the Act requires adjustments. This kind of flexibility is really important for long-term success. Definitely. It's like any organization. The more feedback you get, the better you can improve. Now, one thing we haven't touched on yet is the role of the county commissioners. They have some pretty significant responsibilities. Not only are they overseeing the entire county, but they also have to ensure that policies are implemented across the board, from finances to public utilities. Right. And the qualifications for those positions are pretty stringent. You've got to be at least 30 years old and have the Sudan school certificate or its equivalent. This ensures that the people running these councils are mature and educated enough to handle the complexities of governance. It's a good bar to set, especially given the challenges these local governments might face. You want people who are equipped to manage all the resources and responsibilities they're given. And let's not forget, There's a lot of emphasis on capacity development, making sure officials are continually improving their skills to do their jobs better. Capacity development is huge. You can't just have people in these roles and expect them to know everything. They need ongoing training to stay effective. And speaking of training, this act also touches on the importance of having technical and support staff in place. Officials can make recommendations for who should be hired, ensuring the right people are in the right positions. That's a great point. It's not just about the top officials, the whole structure needs to be supported by capable people at every level. It's about building a strong, sustainable governance system. And this system ties into the broader goals of Southern Sudan, ensuring that local governance is aligned with national and state policies. Exactly. The Act helps create a cohesive framework for development. All the pieces: policy implementation, land management, financial oversight, come together to form a more stable and effective governance system. But it all depends on whether these local governments can really execute the vision of the Act. Right? The big challenge will be ensuring that these local councils can actually deliver on these responsibilities. But with the right framework, qualifications, and focus on community participation, the Act could definitely set the stage for more effective and responsive governance in Southern Sudan. For sure, it's definitely a step in the right direction. Let's see how it unfolds. But for now, that's all the time we have. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks, everyone. Hope you got a good overview of the Local Government Act. Catch you next time. Follow Majok Wichok on Facebook and subscribe to Make Talks YouTube channel.